And hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Character Choices, a live stream D&D show that we do almost once a week. Having our lives be busy and lots of people in school, as I've mentioned before. It's a hit and miss. And also having another Snowmageddon roll across the fine lands of Texas has changed our situation over the last little while. But it is a live stream show that we do generally every Wednesday, a family-friendly D&D show, mostly family-friendly because we are, in fact, a friendly family. And I don't know that we've talked a lot about it since the very, very beginning, but we are all related to each other. Brothers, sisters, fathers, daughters, cousins, and aunts, in a kind of complex web of awesomeness. So, but we're just doing this for fun, having a good time here, doing something that we've found that we love over the last little while, and we invite you to join us as often as you can and spread the word to anybody that you think might be interested in. We'd love to have y'all kind of jump in and join us and share your thoughts and go through these experiences with us as we play, as we role play, as we learn about this crazy game that is so intoxicating in spite of having to figure things out and learn things. And do all of this with us in our quest for the greatest story ever rolled. We are definitely happy for any of those that are with us right now, or any of those that might be watching this after the fact. If you're watching this later on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the bells and the reminders and all the little likey things and all the YouTube buttons. And then also check us out on our social media platforms. We do have an Instagram account and Facebook page that you can follow us on to keep you up to date on all things character choices. And I'm sure we'll have more places to send you and more ways for you guys to get a hold of us and kind of interact with us in the future as we kind of roll forward and progress. But outside of that, as always, it is glorious to see you here, those of you that are watching, and also our player characters here. Again, we don't really, it's been a while, and I actually was thinking just the other day, I'm like, it probably, you know how a lot of times it takes like 6 or 7 times of repeating a thing before it really sticks or people really remember things. And we haven't really mentioned that. So I'm just going to say, just kind of do a quick thing. I'm David. Hey, what's up? I am a father to Abby, who is top left, plays Akerley, and Bitsy, bottom left, who plays Bitsy. And Maddie, who plays Bitsy, not Bitsy who plays Maddie, because that's super meta and super weird. Man, reality and imagination are conflicting. And I am father to them. They are my twin daughters, my oldest twin daughters, and are fun enough and crazy enough to do this crazy thing with their papa. They don't call me papa. I'm just going to put that out there. It's not something we do. So, and then in the bottom right hand side, Pimiver, we have Rachel, who plays Pimiver. She is my little sister. And she's not so little anymore. You've grown up. You've grown up so much.
It's true. It's true.
I won't tell people how many years grown up you are because that would be rude or something.
18.
Yeah,
Gosh.
obviously. She's obviously 18. And then it's just easiest for me to introduce everybody in relationship to me. And then on either side of me in the wings, we have on my right Beth, who plays Wicket, Waywocket Urkel, Carlin Cribby, Eliwick, Tumbleduck Timbers.
There's a trivia.
Good job. Way to go.
Yep. And she plays our Tinker Gnome Wicket, and she is my niece. She is my oldest sister's daughter. And her sister on my left, Britt, who plays Anasriel Emakir, our Eladrin bard. Her sister, also my oldest sister's daughter. So the two of them are cousins to the two twins, right? And then
Go for it.
nieces.
Make all the connections.
I know. I'm trying to build the web. So nieces to Rachel on the bottom right-hand corner, who is the aunt to them all. Your relationship, I think, is the simplest to describe. We are aunt and uncle to them all. No, I guess I'm not uncle to my twin. Okay, you guys can see how crazy it gets, right? But for whatever it's worth, I just figure it bears repeating. We are a family who are kind of nerds about things. We are a group of writers and musicians and artists of a variety of stripes. Though we are not professionals, but we do really have fun doing this. We did this for a little while before we even started doing it online, and then made the decision to kind of take the plunge and put something out there on the internet that people can maybe learn with us from, and also a good kind of family-friendly place for people to enjoy what D&D has to bring to the table. So anyway, in a nutshell, I won't do that every time, but I feel like, guess what, guys, by the way? It's our 10th episode, which I know doesn't feel like a landmark, but it's like, I don't know
it's
what
our 10th anniversary.
Right.
I thought you were going to say anniversary, and I was like, what anniversary? What anniversary?
It is our 10th episode anniversary. I always forget what they are, right? Like 10 and then 25, and then they're like, one is like silver and one is like gold or something. I don't know. We're that 10th one. I had one of those once with my wife, but I don't remember what it is. So, but anyways, 10 episodes in. And so it seemed like a good time to maybe do a quick refresher on some of what we've got going on. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But once again, we are super happy and thrilled to have you with us. And hope that you stick with us through the years, because we're going to do this forever. Obviously.
We hate when things get canceled.
For sure. With that in mind, I don't think that we have any other announcements or any other such thing. We'll go ahead and jump into this week's episode. We'll start with a recap of what's been going down over the last little while. And I'll backtrack just a tiny little bit, just to kind of do a bit of a reminder for Rachel Pimiver, who has been frozen in down in Texas for a little while. But if you recall, right? If you recall, you all ended up in the Chancel of Passage, a Sifrin shrine, a shrine to the goddess Sif, who is the cupbearer. While there, were confronted by Icon Mythic, a strange, shadowy, gnomish figure who appeared from a rift in the air and engaged in battle along with several constructs that he seemed to be controlling underneath. Each of you, except for Bitsy and Wicket, took a trip through one of the doors, one of the passages here in the Chancel of Passage. All of this being facilitated by Bitsy, whose hand paid a toll, from being in contact with this spectral chalice that was here. And you gained something or learned something or made progress somehow. You were all given access to a place or figure or time or whatnot to help you out in some way. Wicket was left behind to do all the fighting. Held her own fairly well until things got really dicey when Icon Mythic showed up. But also just in time, and around the time that Pim showed back up, because Pim did not leave on purpose, would have stayed by your side forever, Wicket. Also, an ally appeared through one of these doors, knocking the door down and appearing a construct made of stone and metal, who announced himself as Adam of the Deep, and became quickly an ally to our Wicket. They fought well together, even though Wicket ended up falling in the end, as did Akerly, who fell to 0 hit points after being having something happen to her at the hands of Icon Mythic, who suddenly a part of himself into the form of a shadowy Akerly, who began casting magic missile and other spells that Akerly has at her disposal. Renzi Hinterhain, the ghost, sorry, that was probably very loud, the ghost who was shackled to the altar on the kind of ethereal plane side of this room was released at the end by Bitsy, and then reappeared to help fight by your side against Icon Mythic. Caused a portal to appear out of the ground. Roots sprang up, massive roots that split open and opened a passage through which she urged you all to escape, because you were woefully underpowered and underprepared for this confrontation with Icon Mythic. You did manage to get through, although Wicket was, I think, at 0. She was stable but unconscious, as Adam of the Deep picked her up and carried her dutifully through the portal, and the rest of you managing to get Akerly up off of her feet or up off of her back and onto her feet, and then back into the mine through which you entered the astral hall and then descended to this place, the Chancellor Passage. And you were left outside there. It was a brutal battle. Many of you were wounded pretty fairly well. This is where we picked up last time, where you all discovered a couple of things right off the bat. One, Anazriel was still not with you, although you were told by Renzi that she had been lost somewhere in the passages, but would hopefully find her way to you. You discovered Akerly has a kind of shock of ink black hair that has appeared and kind of descended from her scalp, and upon examining it, it just is her hair that has somehow turned this very glossy shade of black, but in kind of one spot on her head. On top of having been aged by about 20 years. And Bitsy, inspecting her hand, it seems to be normal when you look at it straight on, but out of the peripheral of your vision, you see the withered version of it that you had when you were touching the chalice back in the ethereal plane. You're not sure what that is about. We did meet up. We as you guys left the mines, heading back to the glade where you fought the Talaru and where you left many sprites and pixies. We came to Anazriel, who had somehow found herself before another gate, which led her into a strange flying kind of tunnel rising above a strange and pitted land, with many orbs floating around in it that seemed to wisp into these pools of water that showed scenes from the material plane. You were joined by an odd raven, jet black with a bone-white beak and teal eyes, glowing teal, who traveled with you into the side of a massive tree in which you found Master Sola, someone from your past, playing his dark harp upon a chair, a macabre music to which was dancing another acquaintance of yours from your past, a friend who seemed to be here against his will. As after having a conversation and him revealing that he is doing the bidding of a mistress of some sort, which you do not know, and that she wishes you for some reason, many ravens appeared in the rafters of the room that you found yourself in, and then descended gruesomely upon Sola, plunging their beaks in upon him and coming away slick with purple blood, and in a vicious display. And eventually, the mistress of this realm, who revealed herself to be the mistress of the realm of the dead, came and coldly commanded you to leave after causing Sola to disappear, and calling upon Jonas of Avram Torah, who you met in one of your last things, to kindly facilitate your escape through another gateway that had appeared. Jonas did appear, his face appearing in a stone face feature at the top of the gate, and urging you to leave. And you did, in fact, leave. And you burst up through a pool of water in the glade where the others had congregated, coming out into this place. In this place, you have discovered that the disease and the rot that had been perpetrated by the Talaru had been reversed largely by the form of a massive honey locust tree ant, I never used the word treant, but this is a D&D creature. A massive kind of humanoid tree that Kelva, the sprite, the second sprite that you met, reveals to you is Eklaren, or the Thorn Mother, he calls her. And she spoke with you as she began to reverse the decay and the rot and cleanse this place, and revealed to you some of what she knew about the past of Endelwyn, that she used to walk there, and that things seem to have been going poorly last she was there, that there were uprisings that took place, specifically the Kuamel, a branch of the gnomes of Endelwyn, had tried to rise up and take leadership and control away from the Laframel, specifically of House Melanet, who were the ruling house of the Laframel, and were exiled because of it after great and fearsome battles, and that a protection was placed up around it, and they sealed themselves in. And you were kind of hinted at that magic wielders in general among the gnomes were beginning to be, the general population were becoming suspicious of those who wielded magic. I think you discussed for a minute, Bitsy, that you had left at some point. You showed your seal, which seems to connect you to House Melanet in some way. And it was maybe thought that somehow you had been made to escape from there, probably because of the magic that resides in you and your family. But beyond that, she has been busy. The Thorn Mother has been busy in other parts of the forest. You did discover that the sprites and pixies who have made their homes in her boughs came out at the time the original kind of seal went up around Endelwyn, and they held back the Talaru at that time, who were trying to take advantage of the turmoil within Endelwyn to force their way in. And they fought back the Talaru, sacrificing themselves on the outside of this thing, and that they had been pushing against the Talaru ever since, although they had been losing that battle dramatically, had escaped to this area of the Wyverwood, but the Talaru seemed to have extended their reach out to this far, showing up here in the end. And I think that that's the long story of it, just to get Rachel caught up a bit on what's been happening. You all talked for a little while. I will say that you did discover while in the mine, before leaving the mine, after investigating around a little bit, a seal, which seemed to be at least reminiscent of the seal of Quaylin, of the family of Quaylin, Handarl Quaylin, the Baron of Baronhold, who initially sent you out into the woods hoping to find evidence of old mines from his family in the past. They were platinum miners and dealers, and it seems to be connected to that mining complex in some way. You settled down for a much needed rest. And the Thorn Mother invited you to sleep beneath her boughs and between her roots, and her feet burrowed into the ground as she planted herself firmly into the glade, settling in, becoming much more tree-like in appearance, and inviting you to lay upon the ground, and that she would watch over you so that you could sleep undisturbed through the night, and so on and so forth. And you did. And so the story goes, my friends, as you find yourselves curled up beneath the roots of the Thorn Mother, or I guess among the roots of the Thorn Mother, beneath the boughs and the spiraling pods, the seed pods of the honey locust that dangle like necklaces or earrings from her boughs, as the homes, the tiny little kind of gourd-shaped homes of the fairies that have been strung up in the boughs of the tree flicker with the light of fairies who seem to be resting and recovering from what had taken place before. And as the sound of the forest and the jungle around you rises up, the sound of insects and living things and owls kind of hooting in the distance, and you settle yourselves into sleep as the sun fades. and darkness falls. As you all go off to sleep, it is one of the more comfortable sleeps you've had in a minute. It just feels comfortable. You feel safe. You feel looked after in a way that is unlike anything you've experienced up until now. It's just very different. Yeah. So you find yourself in this situation. And before we move any farther, Pim, I'm going to need you to roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh, right off the bat.
Welcome back. Oh gosh.
I feel like that's most of the rolls you make in this campaign is just saving throws.
I know, right? I have a 12.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because she tried to heal. The tree tried to heal Pim, right?
The tree took a look because you asked her to, and she did not seem to be able to. She was worried by it, but was not able to affect it at all. And so, okay, a 12. Pim. You are curled up on the ground. You all have pulled out your bedrolls and sleeping mats and so on and so forth. I can't remember in Explorer packs and things, because we don't really pay attention to this stuff. I don't think many people do. If there's tents in there or if it's just bedrolls. I think it's just bedrolls unless you say otherwise. So you're all kind of laid out in the open, right? I'm not sure how Pim would have fallen asleep. Is Pim does he sleep on his side, on his back? Is he a back sleeper, a side sleeper? Would he sleep cozied up to something or someone else, or kind of get off to the side? What would Pim do? What situation do we see Pim in?
I think he's probably semi-off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming he's a side sleeper. I think we have that in common.
That's good. Art imitating life a little bit. So Pim, you're curled up on your side. You can feel the kind of warmth of the root, a large root of the Thorn Mother, kind of around you, kind of firmly against your back, as you descend into a sleep. And in one moment, you can hear the sounds that I described earlier of the forest around you. You can feel a bit of the flicker of the light through your eyelids as you kind of drift down into the realm of sleep. And then you almost suddenly, this is not like it's not like you float through like a sea of da 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 da. It's like you close your eyes, you're kind of paying attention to the sounds of the night, and then suddenly your eyes come open. And you are still in the glade, but none of your friends are nearby. And the tree, the Thorn Mother, is gone. And you wake up and sit up, and you find yourself inside of the kind of open space here that had been created beneath the shape of this kind of quarry, this rock face in which the mine had been struck. The light is different. There is a bright kind of moonlight shining down through the trees that are kind of surrounding this place. But the color of the moon is a bit odd. It's a bit prismatic almost, as it kind of filters down into the space around you. I'm not going to say it's like a rainbow kind of like stroby spectral thing, but there's this almost prismaticness to it. And as you look up, you can see kind of a full moon cresting over the top of the cliff face. And the moon itself has this almost crystalline kind of look to it, as if it was a large. Have you guys seen like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? I shall not ever mention this movie again. There may be people who love that movie, but I am not one of them. But if you remember the Crystal Skull, it was this crystalline kind of skull, and you can see the crystalline structure, but it's kind of round and smooth and has this kind of feel in it. The moon feels a bit like that, and there's these kind of ribbons of color that kind of shift and move around through it as you kind of look up at it for just a moment. The sound of the insects is gone. There is a gentle bit of a breeze kind of blowing through some of the leaves nearby. And suddenly, from behind you, a voice speaks out and says to you, "It's good to finally meet you in person."
I'm gonna kind of turn around and kind of look. Who said that?
And you see, kind of stepping out from behind the trunk of a tree and walking in your direction, you see a very tall, not very tall, but a tall, pushing up over 6 feet, a tall man is walking in your direction, wearing very, very fine clothing, ornate robes that are draped across the shoulders as kind of an outer robe that drapes and hangs open, and you can see fine kind of linen clothing underneath. There's a wide sash around his waist as he approaches, and all of it is very silvery, kind of in sheen and in shape. And the man himself has long flowing hair that drifts and drops backward from his head, and pale, almost opalescent skin. In fact, there's an almost prismatic light that seems to kind of hover and shift around him as he lightens the area, the space around him, very similar to the moon that you see above you. And he takes several steps in your direction, and as he walks, you can almost see the afterburn of his footprints on the ground, and I guess burn is the wrong word. It's as if where he steps, the outline of his foot lingers in this kind of white, multicolored but white light, and then fades again after a moment as he steps forward. You can see that he is wearing a very, very fine kind of necklace that seems to have like a pendant hanging from it. You can see earrings all down along one ear. You see that there are rings upon his finger. He's got a very fine, his fingers, his face is very fine and free of wrinkles or lines. And he's pretty. I mean, he's just a very pretty person. He kind of steps in your direction a bit closer. After asking, after your question, moves in your direction. Do not be alarmed, he says, as he steps forward. I am a friend.
And what's your name, friend?
My friend. I shall withhold my name for just a moment, for names have power, he says. Perhaps after we speak for just a moment, I shall give you mine, and you shall give me yours, and we shall see. But to give you mine without having determined whether I can trust you for sure, or asking yours before you have done the same with me, seems like it would be rather dangerous, and if nothing else, at the least, a bit rude. Is it okay if I sit?
Can you tell me where I am? Yeah.
He kind of moves forward, and you see him take a seat upon a large rock, a stone. There were several of these kind of largish stones scattered around the area before, and he kind of pulls up, adjusts his robes almost daintily, kind of sits down, almost royally, in a very kingly, almost very well poised. His posture is fabulous as he kind of sits and looks over you. And he says, you are in the same place that you were when you fell asleep. Just a slightly different version of it. You will find yourself there, awake and fine in the morning. I just wish to speak with you for just a moment.
What about?
Well, I would like to speak to you about perhaps acquiring your help, or the help of your friends. You've been brought to my attention as you and yours have wandered through this area, and have held up rather well. Not to mention activating many things of power and great importance that have lain dormant for a very long time. I'm afraid your activation of them has sent ripples out into the surrounding area, and I have sensed them, and thought that I would get a closer look, if that makes any sense at all. You and yours, might I ask why you are in here? What is your purpose in this region, in this area? Again, only share what you are comfortable sharing.
We originally came this way because we were hired to do some exploring in the area, but we ran into a couple people who needed our help, which is what we've been doing now here. We kind of stumbled into this place through a series of events over the last couple of days, but wasn't necessarily our intention, but here we are.
I see. Would you say that you're a good person?
I would say that I tried to be.
A fair answer. There are those who don't, and I can tell, I have my ways, that you mean what you say. I don't know if you've met the sort of people I talk about, or I speak of, those who have no interest in being good at all. I have known quite a few of them in my life.
So have I.
I sense that you are what you say you are, and to a degree. I'm afraid it will take good people to do what needs to be done in these parts. And it heartens me to know that you are among them. You are aware, I am sure, of the many dangers that lie here, of the many dark and dangerous things that have usurped the land, as the mortals of the various kingdoms here in Andromar have squabbled with one another for eons, it seems.
Yes, I'm aware.
Some of what sleeps here is dark indeed, very, very dark. And it will take great light to root them out. Powers that I fear have lain dormant for a very long time, much like that which you have tapped into, it seems, you and your friends, here beneath the ground. There is another such power that I would like to say would be a great boon to you and those like you who wish to cleanse and purify this land. And I, unfortunately, am unable to rouse this power myself. I require assistance.
And you think me and my friends can help?
I have called upon others in the past, and unfortunately, those within my reach have been weak. Weak-willed, weak-powered, weak-minded. They are what they are, but they are all that I had to work with, and have been treading water, as the saying goes, for quite a while now. I have felt the power that has come from this place, and you have all walked out alive, if not unscathed. And I think, now that you are within reach of my influence, thought that I would reach out to you and see if might get your help. What think you of all of this so far?
What exactly is this power that you need help with getting?
Well, to put it bluntly, the power is me.
Okay.
I'm afraid that I've been bound, in a way, for quite a time, and I seek to escape my bonds, so that I might be able to go forth once again and strive to make this place at least a shadow of what it once was. And I'm afraid, due to the bonds that are placed upon me, I'm limited in my ability to do what I need to do. And as I said earlier, those that I have called upon have not been able to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. So I wonder if I've...
In my experience, things that are bound are usually bound for a reason. So, you asked me earlier if I was a good person. Are you?
That's a great question. Good on you, character choice wise. I am good. Perhaps in a different sort of way. You and I are different, I suppose, in the way that the moon and the stars are different. The moon is brighter, you see, more vibrant, higher, you would say, in a way, and hence the choices that I wrangle with look different than those that you wrangle with. But within my realm, I would say that I am as good as they come.
And if we came and we helped you get out, you could help push back some of the darkness that's taken over these parts?
I would endeavor to do so, yes. This place in particular, known as the Wyver Wood, would be a beginning, but we would hopefully be able to extend beyond that into the realm of the elves on the other side of the river, or perhaps up into the mountains, the Kilvane Mountains, to the east of here. Many dark things reside there.
Do you know where you are?
I do know where I am, and I could guide you to me, though I'm not free to speak of the place where I am. But I'm afraid that if you are going to help me, it will have to happen soon. There's a bit of a fork in the road coming. A time when it will be auspicious to do what needs to be done in order to help me make my appearance. And there are things that I need in place before then, not to mention traveling to this place. And so I must ask you, in a bit of a hurry, perhaps rashly, if we might make this happen. By the way, as a reminder, insight checks are always available, just as I keep reminding people. So in these sorts of interactions, they're always sort of handy to be able to do.
True. Okay, we'll do one of those. I always forget about insight checks. I'm so bad about that. But 15.
Okay. Yeah, with a 15, I'm trying to get a bead on what he is saying. And you, I think, get a sense that much of what he is saying is true with a 15, as far as you can tell. But that it's like what he's saying is like just a little bit of an iceberg sticking up above the water. Right. You get a sense that so much more is floating under the surface than what he has said or has even come near saying. There's a whole lot more to it. You get a sense intuitively.
Myself and the people that I travel with, we are more than willing to help people who are in need. I'll come to you, but if you want me to unbind you, once I'm there, you'll have to answer some more of my questions first.
I see. Well, answers to questions are always, I mean, it's just information, so I understand. I will ask what I need in order to make this happen. What I need is power. Enough power to be able to break the chains that hold me. Such power might be had. It is a sort of power that exists in things of magical nature. Items that have magic within them. Or other sources of magic that you might find required. And I might be able to channel the power of those things into myself in such a way that I may become strong enough to break my bonds. Do you have any such things on you?
I mean, we've come across a few things on our journey. I don't know if it'll be enough for what you're needing, but we do have a few things like that.
You see kind of a smile appear. Yes, you do. I ask out of courtesy. I know that you have a few items. In fact, I believe you traveled on one on your way here. Quite a fabulous magical power resides within that object upon which you've floated upon the water. There'd be quite enough there almost in and of itself with just a few other things thrown in.
If, let's say, I were to let you harness that power, would it still reside there, or would it change that object?
I'm afraid not. The object would be rendered quite useless without the magic within it. But I assure you the power that I wield would do much more for this land than your boat.
Okay.
So, we understand each other to a degree. Might I ask your name?
My name is Pimiver. Might I ask yours?
My name, well, one of them, the one at which I was most known by at a certain point in time, is Enishtala. And you, Pimiver, is that your whole name?
Pimiver Legal.
When you say this, he jumps up off the stone, stands up straight, and his arms shoot out. And he says, Pimiver Legallo, I bind you to me. And there's a flare, there's a flare of prismatic energy that flies out. And as this energy flies out, it goes from this sort of prismatic kind of feel and at the edges of it becomes deep emerald green, and you feel a searing in your neck, where the handprint of Kelva or Sovum resides. And I'm going to need you to make another wisdom saving throw for me.
Rachel!
I was doing so good not giving my name for the first little while, guys. No.
Why is he locked up in the first place? Like, that'd be like, why, bro?
I have a 19.
Awesome. You feel the searing pain, and the pain reaches like claws, like talons up into your brain, and you feel it kind of latching on and seeping in to your mind, and you begin to feel a kind of, yes, I must help you kind of feeling begin to come over you. And as this happens, you suddenly, let's say this, you suddenly sense a bit of a flash of kind of white energy, and you hear a voice. You hear just a hint of a voice kind of in the background. You must be strong. And you recognize this voice as the same voice that came from the pool, the astral pool, which you visited through the doorway. And you push, and the binding falls off of you. And you look, and you can see an Ishtala standing. And where there was a grin kind of spreading across his face, you see it kind of turn into kind of a snarl and a grimace. Fool. Fool, you will serve me. You will serve me in my ends, or I will destroy you. And as he speaks, you almost get it. You almost see this fine-featured face extend almost, and then kind of, and you see teeth like fangs appear, and then it kind of shoots back into the normal shape of the face that you saw to begin with. And his hand lashes out one more time, and shoots towards you another spray of this kind of emerald at the edges, prismatic energy. And at this moment, another deep voice appears as the energy seems to disperse. And you hear a deep voice that says, I'm afraid you are not welcome here. And you see a single spiral-shaped seed pod fall from seemingly nowhere in the air and hit the ground. And as it hits the ground suddenly blooms with grass and flowers, and small trees and saplings begin to kind of spread and grow. And Ishtala steps back. No, he says. You will not stop me this time. And you hear the voice once again, which you recognize as the voice of the Thorn Mother, say, I'm afraid that this one resides within my care. You can leave now. And just with those words, the green growing things rush forward towards Anishtala, who turns and just runs away from the growing things that are headed in his direction. You see him disappear from around the tree that he came from, and the moon explodes. You sense it almost above you. And suddenly it all falls, everything fades, and your eyes open, and you find yourself once again curled up within the roots of the Thorn Mother. You see the normal glade around you, and you see that the tree is bent over, like at the waist, what the waist would be, and you see this face, this kind of face inside of the knots and the whorls of the tree, kind of looking at you wide-eyed. Are you okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that was harrowing.
A little bit.
She kind of looks at you. This will continue to be a problem.
Is there anything I can do about it?
Let me think upon it for a moment. You were saved this time because you sleep beneath my boughs, and I was able to lend you protection. She says, and you see her kind of bend back up with a creak and a rustle of branches and settle in. You can see that the sun is rising at this point in time, and dawn is reaching this glade. The glade has transformed even more since the night before. It is just carpeted in new growth and grass. Wildflowers have sprung up on the ground around. Many new lilies and lush kind of grasses and kind of cattails have appeared in the ponds that used to be so kind of yucky when you first arrived here. And so much has grown up and out of and upon the large tree that had fallen down, which is now just a nursery to so many growing things. As you rise up, we'll say that the voice of the Thorn Mother speaking, it rumbles through the air, and all of you are aroused at this point in time by this sound of the Thorn Mother's voice. Yes, let me think on it, she says, as the rest of you rise, and you see kind of a wide-eyed, maybe a bit pale Pimiver, kind of rousing from sleep. And I will turn it to you about what you would like to do here.
Think on what? I'm gonna look at Pim.
I guess we should probably have a little group discussion real quick. There's been some interesting developments. Yeah. Do you guys all want to come here for a minute?
I'm gonna hop down from whatever root I was highly perched on and go sit cross-legged next to you.
Wicket just kind of plops down in front like this.
Bitsy rolls over. It really crawls over. Groaning.
I'm sure you guys have noticed that I have had some interesting things that have been happening to me since I was touched. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure exactly what's happening, but I know it's not good. I seem to have some sort of a connection with someone named Inishtala. Who I just met, I guess you could say, in a dream. And seems as though he is trying to get into my head and try to force me in some way to help him. And I've fought it off so far, but to be honest, I don't know for sure whether or not I will always have the strength to do that. That's what I was asking. That's what she's thinking on, is if there's any way for me to figure out how to stop this from happening.
So someone's in your head.
Essentially.
How are they in your head, though? Is that because of the thing that the little fairy did to you?
I'm assuming so, yeah. He said that he was bound somewhere and that he needed our help, particularly the power in my boat to unleash himself.
Your boat again?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really cool boat, but you shouldn't let anybody take it.
How's
That
everyone
is
finding
what
out
I'm
about
thinking
your
too.
boat?
I know, right?
I don't go around meeting people. I'm gonna look at the two gnomes in the group who I know are chatterboxes.
I mean, to be fair, I have sort of been using my boat over the last little while as a form of income. So
Do
You
a few people know about
if
it.
you'd like let me examine your boat one time, and like I don't know, maybe I could make a replica of the boat, and then maybe if I made a lot of the boats, then everyone could have boats, and nobody would want to steal your boat because everyone could have a boat.
That's
I
the
mean,
plan I've ever
I'm
heard.
not entirely sure that will work, but as long as you're careful, I'm more than willing to let you look at my boat.
I look at the Thorn Mother at this point and I say, do you know who Inishtala is?
Literally about to ask.
You hear the creak as she kind of bends over once again, getting her face a little closer to you. I know the feel of the name, she says. I'm not sure that I've met her or him. I'm not sure that I've met him. But the name rings familiar. Enishtala. She kind of rolls the name around in her mouth for just a moment. Hi, I will ask. And you see as her hands kind of come down, and she's got these very long, kind of branchy, twiggy fingers that she plunges into the soil, the earth below her, and you kind of see her settle in, and her eyes close, and she goes very, very still for a moment. A long moment that kind of passes, and you're unsure of how long this will be.
Well, I think you should avoid him. If he gives you bad feelings and he's trying to get in your mind without consent, then I feel like he's a bad person, and we don't want to associate ourselves with bad people or go near bad people, so we should just avoid him.
Yeah, people usually are bound for a reason, so we should probably just leave him.
Good point. I said that too.
Great minds think alike.
My only concern is that I'm not sure it's always going to be my choice.
Why?
Like I said, there have been moments over these last few days where it's been harder to push things out of my head. And while I would like to say that I will always be able to do that, and I will, of course, try my best, I am just... This is a new thing for me. I don't know for sure if I'm always going to be fully in control. I think this is mostly why I'm explaining this to you guys, because I don't know. There might come a time where you guys have to step in.
Well, I believe in you, so I'm sure it won't come to that.
I'm gonna raise my... Sorry, go ahead.
If you do fail, we'll stop. But you won't fail, you won't fail. Almost done.
I'm gonna raise my eyebrow and just kind of look at you for a minute. Then what would you like us to do, Pimother?
I say for now we keep moving forward with what we were originally set out to do, and I will do my best to fight it off. And if for some reason I'm unable to, if you guys need to, stop me.
You have my word that I'll stop you. I'm gonna clap my hands and stand up. Sounds like we have a plan. If Pim goes bad, we stop Pim. Until then, back on track.
Well,
Who's with me?
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. We'll look for an antidote or something that will help you along the way. We'll keep an eye out. One eye on the gold, one eye on him, one eye on the gold.
Do
I'm
we know
gonna
what
like
kind of
mirror
medicine
you as you do that.
Do we know what kind of medicine you need?
I'm gonna look back up to the tree.
The tree is still super super rooted and very still at the
Very
moment.
focused.
She said she'd look into it
I-
and see if there's anything that can be done, but I don't know yet.
I'm gonna kind of wave my hand as high as I can to try and get it in front of her face.
And her eyes are very closed. I would say you do see a flicker of kind of golden light as several very small figures descend from the gourds in the trees, kind of in your direction. Akerly, you had your hand up.
well, you continue first.
You watch as several forms approach. One is a bit smaller and daintier, with wings that are kind of butterfly shaped and seem to be made of like the bark of like a birch or an aspen tree. And you recognize the kind of shaman of the fairy tribe, Olivian, I think is what her name was, as she descends kind of in your direction on these wings, flanked by two larger fairy figures. And you recognize, right off the bat, you recognize Kelva from the night before. And you recognize Sovum, the very first of the sprites, fairies that you met, curled up in the pot in your old hut beside the river, who was descending, looking pretty much exactly like you saw her the first time you saw her, except with a lack of the kind of green light and energy around her. She is glowing brightly, her normal color, as she approaches beside the shaman, and they approach you. Sovum kind of zips forward to you, to all of you, and says, "Good morning."
Good morning.
Morning.
You all slept well, I hope?
Oh, I slept so well. I feel so much better.
We watched over you the whole night.
Thank you.
You're so nice.
Sovum okay?
What's that?
Sovum okay?
Sovum's the one talking to you at this point. And she says, "Thanks to you, I am okay. You got me to a place where I could receive help. You saved Olivian, who was able to then call the Thorn Mother, and the Thorn Mother has made it well. I cannot thank you enough. Especially I thank you for restraining me and not letting me hurt anyone else." And she kind of looks sheepishly at you, Pim, as she says this.
It's okay. I know you weren't quite yourself.
I was simply trying to read you and see if you might be someone I could trust who might be able to help me in our time of need. I did not know I was corrupted. I did not know what would happen. I am so very sorry.
Honestly, I would have done the same thing. I hold no hard feelings.
Thank you. And she kind of flutters up, and you feel tiny little kind of arms go around your neck as she kind of like pats you on the neck, and kind of you feel tiny little like dewdrop tears kind of trickle onto your skin. "You are a very wise man," she says. I remembered you were a man. Woo,
Right?
who's
Good job,
learning?
David.
Who's learning? She kind of flutters back and kind of wipes her face, and you see her get kind of stoic again, and her hand goes down to the hilt of the small kind of wooden sword on her sheath, and she kind of goes back into position around Olivian. And Olivian says, "She is not wrong. We are very grateful to you for everything that you have done. You have helped our people in our time of need, and we will not easily forget you. We are forgetful by nature to a degree," she says. "Our memories do not last long, but the Thorn Mother will help us remember, I am sure."
Well, we'll never forget you. Our memories are a lot better, so we'll probably remember you a lot longer than you'll remember us.
"And that shall warm my heart," she says, "to know that I am remembered by such as you."
I'm gonna kind of turn my head towards Sylvan. For what it's worth, sorry we burned you.
Yeah, my bad.
Glad to see you're all healed up now, and I'm gonna shoot her a thumbs up.
I was not in my right mind at the time. I do not even remember it. And again, I will forget it very soon. So, there's no harm done. Maybe it helped.
Probably.
Maybe.
But I'll be able to add it to my long list of brushes with death, she says.
Like one would try to keep
You have a legitimate list of brushes with death?
The Thorn Mother keeps it for me.
helpful. It seems.
What's that, Maddie? Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Really helpful, it seems.
The Thorn Mother?
Yeah.
She's the best.
Yeah.
She is a great being of great power and great wisdom, and has done so much for our people to help us survive as we have. She is our home, Olivian says.
To have a home, especially one that moves. It's like you can travel and but also stay home, but also see cool places. But also she seems to be like a doctor too, so you never have to go to a hospital or a medical center or anything. So you have a home, you have like a form of transportation and a medical center all in one. And she's really nice, so you have like a friend too, and a mom. Because she's a mother.
She's all inclusive.
All inclusive.
She is much like a resort in Mexico, yes. She's like an RV and an ambulance all in one. She's like, "You're not wrong."
Yeah. Not wrong a lot.
Well, we will probably not stay here, Olivian says, for very long. The Thorn Mother will return to her gardens now that she has cleansed this place, and we shall go with her. But I just wanted to say, while I remember you so well, just again, that we are so grateful for everything that you have done, and if we could not forget you, we would not. But we will always know you, even if we do not remember you well. For you have slept beneath the boughs of the Thorn Mother, and now her influence is upon you, and we will always know you now. Which means that you will be able to travel safely here without us hurting you, or we try not to hurt. And so I'm talking now. We try not to hurt people too badly, but we generally force those that we do not know and do not trust away from here. But if you come again, we will be able to get to know you all over again.
Always very exciting to get to know new friends who are actually old friends.
I imagine so, she says.
I take it you guys are the ones sending explorers away then.
Yes, we have sent quite a few people back to where they came from. after depriving them of things that we deemed too dangerous for this area. So they were not quite as powerful and as interesting as you.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I like to think that we're all very interesting.
Very much so. Right
Speaking
about.
of interesting,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna bend around them, looking at the Thorn Mother with her eyes closed. If you don't mind, while you're pondering and looking for answers, I met a raven lady who's like the mistress of the realm of the dead. Anything you could tell me about her would be great. And I'm gonna lean back. Sorry about that. Just answers to questions that I haven't asked yet, but definitely need.
Well, the Thorn Mother knows much, and we'll say at this point in time, there's a bit of a rumble and a creak as the hands of the Thorn Mother are pulled free from the soil, and she straightens back up, her large, odd eyes blinking open again. Well, the land knows a bit more than I did, she says, but still not much. They know of one Enishtala. They call her Icon, or they call him Icon Enishtala. And the memory of him is strong here, if the details are vague. His influence is felt far and wide within the Wyverwood, and I knew that it was familiar, for I felt it in the implements that you retrieved from the devils that deteriorated and corrupted this space that we are in. The staff that you found, the implements with which they were cutting into the stone, and which were in the cages in which they caught my dear ones. These are all of Icon and Ishtala. They were here at his command. It would seem he sent them to draw magic into the staff that you found and return to him. But of an abhorrent way to do it. They thought to pull the magic from my children, from my dear ones, until you arrived and helped them. Of the mistress of the dead, I am afraid I cannot tell you anything at all. I do not go there or think much of it. Other things die.
Depressing.
I am sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to not having answers, so no hard feelings. And I'm gonna kind of paste a smile onto my face that is very fake.
Well, I am afraid that is all that I can tell you. But I may be able to offer a little help. Well, have already done what I can, I think. For you have slept beneath my boughs this night, and my influence will remain with you to a degree, and it will help to strengthen you should Enishtala seek you again in the same way. And hopefully that will be enough. But he is powerful. It may only be a matter of time. I wish I could tell you more.
What if we left and we're really far away? Would like distance make it so that he couldn't like try and mess up him?
I do sense that he is bound to this land in some way. And while his influence is strong here in the Wyverwood, one that I am familiar with because I have pushed against the corruption in the land. Once to the edges or beyond to a certain degree in the Wyverwood or outside of its boughs and influence, it should be easier.
If we leave, will he try to take your people's power again?
The Talaru are his minions, it would seem. And one group has come farther to the west than ever before. I imagine others will follow in time. You have dealt with this group. They are an outlier, if I sense rightly. But in time others may follow. For now, mostly, they have preyed on our people and our magics, and have sought out lost and ancient magics deeper in the Wyverwood. But we shall see. Eventually, I am certain this Enishtala will need to be reckoned with.
Do you think there's any way to stop him for good?
I do not know. This is beyond my ken.
He's already bound.
That's tomorrow's problem. But it seems like we have a lot of things to work towards. It sounds like Icon Mythic, and because they both have Icon in front of them, which I think means they're connected, which means we have double problems. And honestly, this topic is stressful.
Is there anything we could do to help you redeem the Wyverwood? I mean, that's why we're here.
Ultimately, if the minions of Enishtala were reduced in some way, that would lessen his power. In the end, though, only removing Enishtala himself will allow us to reclaim the land and redeem it in the way that it must be redeemed.
Have you not?
Well, it sounds like he's our problem then.
How much do you know about the world outside of the Wyverwood?
Not much. The Wyverwood I am familiar with. The Marser Forest to a degree. The hills beneath the shadow of the Kilvane Mountains where Andelwyn resides I was once familiar with. But for many years now I have spent my time here simply doing what I do. Caring for the plants as I can, for the animals and the things that strive to grow here in the face of the corruption. The wider world is not really my interest. Perhaps you know others or may find others with more knowledge than I about all of this.
What does his influence feel like?
It feels like decay, like poison. It feels like what befalls a swamp or a land as it decays, or what befalls a tree as it decays, but not in a natural way. In a way with no circle, a way that does not promote new life in its wake.
What happens to living things that are enveloped by it?
They die. They die in a way that does not promote new life, and that keeps them from ever having any life again in any form.
Out of character question.
Yep.
Would this be similar or different from the feelings of, I want to say it's the Marcer forest? Is that correct?
The Marcer forest, yeah, is a little farther off.
That's where my tree is, right?
Where your tree is, yeah. And
Would it be a similar feeling or different from the way
different. Different. Yeah. Yeah, the woods, there's something's happening to the woods of the Marcer forest, but it does not feel the same as this.
Okay. Second character. I'm going to glance at Pim when she says that they die. And then immediately regret glancing at Pim and kind of sharply turn my head like any other direction.
I know it wasn't our original plan when we set out, but I think it might be important for us to figure out how to get rid of him for good.
Well, it sounds like it's our problem. We did agree to help reclaim the land.
We did.
We did.
He did mention that my boat would probably have enough power to unleash him. Maybe it has enough power to get rid of him. Maybe it's just a matter of figuring out how to harness it.
That's a very genuinely smart insight.
Did he say like how the boat would be used, or like how the power was gonna be used?
He just said that he needed a certain amount of power, and that so far what he had managed to get hadn't been enough, but that he felt like my boat was the key, that it would be enough to unbind him. But he didn't give me many details. He did say that it was time sensitive. He mentioned that there wasn't a lot of time left.
Like he was gonna somehow take the power from your boat and use have it himself.
Yeah.
Well, so if we wanted to turn it around and use it to just further make sure he's bound in all physical and mental capacities, then how would we harness that power?
I don't know.
That sounds
maybe we can find someone, I don't know, who might understand a little bit more how to do that than we do. I don't even know if it's possible.
Of course it's possible, and I'm gonna look at Wicket. We have a magical tinker. She didn't get those scars on her face from nothing. If someone can figure that out, I'm sure Wicket can. Right, Wicket?
Yeah.
That didn't sound very enthusiastic.
I mean, well, I'm a tinker. I don't usually tinker with magic a lot. The moonstone one is more of an experiment, really. It's the first time I've ever tried to harness magic with things.
Do I know about her moonstone wand, David?
What do you mean?
What?
Because wasn't I gone? Do I know that she has a moonstone wand?
She's used it before, I think. She's pulled it out before in front of you guys. She's tinkered with it at times, during long rests.
Until this last time.
Okay.
And she's used it a bit. You wouldn't have seen her use it a ton. I don't think you've used it a lot in fights, and the one fight you used it quite a bit in was the one where Asriel was AWOL. So,
the other fight was the crossbow.
Yeah, right. You've seen her tinkering with it, so you know she has a contraption that is covered in moonstone and a variety of other things that she tinkers with occasionally. It seems to buzz with energy.
Well, moonstone is magic, and you harness that.
Well, I haven't figured out exactly. There's issues with the wand. Sometimes it does things that it's not supposed to do because I can't quite figure out how to harness it without, accidentally blowing something
I'm gonna
up.
look really bored at this point in time. So it means we need to find another tinker. We can just.
No, I didn't say that. You don't need to find another tinker. No, I'm a great tinker. If you need a tinker, I'm the tinker, okay? I'm just saying
We just
that
might need
magic, all the tinkerers don't usually tinker magic. Magic's not a tinker
Give
thing.
her your
No.
boat.
I think we probably need to find someone who's a little more, obviously not a better tinker because we have the best, but knows a little bit more about how to harness magic.
I would definitely love to be a consultant on the project, however, and even the leader on a project. In fact, really, we could get a consultant for me because I would be the leader and I could figure it out.
Perfect.
I just need, like, maybe a magic consultant
We
or
need a
something.
magic consultant for Wicked.
Yeah.
But we already have that too, and I'm gonna look at Akerly.
You hear kind of a creak as like the Thorn Mother turns with your gaze to look at Akerly.
Magic, tinker, magic, tinker. And they're already a duo. And I'm gonna smile.
Well, Thorn Mother, do you know of any one of these woods that could help us understand more about Nishtala?
That means he's not confident.
There's very few anyone's left in these woods. Or at least anyone who thinks in the terms of magic that you are dealing with. Only those such as myself are left here, and we are of the land, as is our power. And I'm afraid I don't know of anyone who would be able to help you. But perhaps in the wider world, she says.
We'll find someone. We'll think on it. We'll think on it. I'm gonna start rolling up my mat. You know, there's the mine. Maybe we should start there, cause that's what's we should think on it while we walk towards the mine. Because all we have to do for the mine is find proof that exists, right? Or
Which
that,
we already did. We already did that because we saw it.
well, we need to bring back proof that it exists, and then maybe if proof. I think he wanted. I'm gonna finish rolling up my mat and try to stick it in my pack. That maybe he wants to know if it's like he can get it up and running again. And let's start with something we can solve because that's something we can do in the next day or two, not something we need to go and fix in a year or two with the
We
dig.
should finish our commitment.
Yeah.
If I
We might be able to find someone along the way who knows a little bit more than we do.
Yeah, and
Get more helpful things from our generous benefactor.
we can bring it back to Quaylen.
Quaylen? Mm-hmm.
And maybe he'll know a little bit about how we can defeat these icons.
Is this Quaylen a powerful magician then?
I don't know much about him. He seems he seems talented, so maybe he's a magician.
He's like a nice enough guy by the looks of things.
And nice guys tend to be really good at magic sometimes. I don't know.
There's a
April is
split
very nice
correlation.
and she's very good at magic.
See, the pattern exists.
He's the leader who sent us here.
Perhaps he knows a great magician.
He probably
Perhaps.
He seems
mean,
to
we
know a lot of people.
We technically met one!
We
And I'm gonna
did.
look excitedly at the group.
The bald guy.
Yeah, the oath taker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one who gave us
Oh.
the bracelets.
Yeah. Maybe he could help us.
He seemed very magical and knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna turn to the tree and say, we are going to make our way back and see what information we can find, and then we will do our best to come back and help.
She kind of nods to you. We are grateful once again for the help we have received. Help in the future would be welcome. I feel the power of Enishtala growing, so we will welcome your help in the future as well.
Hey, could I run one last name by you? I hate to
Sure.
bother you, especially because you haven't had answers yet. And I'm gonna look up and kind of pause and be like, no offense.
None taken.
But does Jonas of Avramtora? Is it Avramtora, David?
Yeah, Avram Torah.
Okay. Does Jonas of Avramtora ring any sort of bell with you or the land?
As soon as you say the name Jonas of Avram Torah, a smile splits her face and a laugh escapes her.
You know him.
Yes, I know Jonas of Avram Torah. Do you know him?
I kind of met his statue. He threw me in the water.
Oh, is that how you got there?
Huh, remember? And I'm gonna kind of recap in a very theatrical way momentarily about how I met a statue in the middle of a battle when you saw a ghost.
Statues.
Barely escaped with my life and my wits from the realm of the dead.
Well, that is interesting, for sure. It sounds like he may be bound in his own way, but he walked these woods at one time, sought me out. We talked long, and he asked me many questions, composed songs, and I shared with him what I knew about creation and growing things.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
We spent much time together. He was a very, very pleasant person.
Well, it
Perhaps
sounds like you can trust him then. Thanks.
you're very welcome. I hope that you can find and help him someday.
I mean, I might let him sit there for a little while and think about what he's done. You don't just throw a girl into a pond. But, you know, maybe I'll get around to it someday. But who knows? Elves live very long lives.
Always the jokester.
And I'm going to smile.
She begins to stand, and you see her feet the roots kind of retract, and her feet begin to pull up from the earth as she kind of to her feet. Well, I must return to my gardens now. Thank you once again for all you have done, and you hear the flutter of wings once again as Kelva and Sovum and Olivian kind of near you again. Yes, Olivian says, thank you for what you have done. Once again, we look forward to seeing you again. We will know you, and we look forward to getting to know you once again.
We will remember you and know you.
She says, wistfully. And yeah, as the Thorn Mother turns and kind of surveys the area, you hear her kind of let out a bit of a kind of a humming kind of tune as she begins to walk, and you see many little flits of light kind of appear and kind of streak towards her from places around, and even from out of the woods kind of in the area nearby, many more than what you had saved from the cages as they flit back up into her branches and her boughs as she begins to kind of trek and walk away, step up over the fallen tree, and begin to make her way off and into the forest.
Where's Adam? I'm gonna look around.
And you see Adam standing in the shadow of Wicket, just standing there.
Wicket just kind of like turns around and goes, oh!
I'm gonna jump just as far. I'm like, wow.
I
shouldn't see him.
I'm sorry to have startled you, Akamve, he says. I was just watching over you.
Literally.
It'd be so much fun.
Thank you, Adam. You don't have to stand so close, though.
Very well. He kind of looks down and takes like a half step
You
backwards.
stand too far from her. That ups the danger of her getting hurt. And I'm gonna kind of smile.
You see his brows knit.
She's joking.
You are
That's a
right,
joke.
and he steps closer to you
No,
once
she's
again.
joking. It's a joke.
Of course. I must protect the Occam Vey, he says.
I'm fine. I really am. And that's real.
I'm just gonna deadpan that. Say, he must protect the Akame.
He like points at you. She gets it.
I do. I've been around a long time. Even Pim gets it. He's been around way longer than I have.
Definitely must protect.
I like your friends, Akamve.
Yes, they're very nice sometimes. Except that right now they're just joking. They're pulling your leg.
But
You
what
can
they're
stay-
If they were pulling my leg, I would know, I am sure.
My hands are over
Yeah,
here.
Wicket. You would know.
it's a term. It's not literally pulling your leg. It's like I'm joking with you. I'm teasing you. You know. So it's like you can take a step back from me is all. And I'll be safe. I promise. If I feel in danger a little bit, I promise I will call out and I'll say, no, I'm in danger.
Is that a command, Akamve?
Well, it's not a command. It's just like I'm just telling you personal space a little bit.
He kind of looks down. I
I'm
will take
very-
a step back, but I don't have to like it. And he kind of back one step away from you again.
I'm just gonna hold my hand out to Pim for a high five.
It's just gonna glare at you too.
This has been a wonderful
we
start
should
to what's looking to be a wonderful day.
Hey, everyone, get their stuff. We gotta go check out the mine.
I don't think we have to
I
check
can
it out.
go
I
back
think he
in.
told us that we had to mark it on the map.
No, because he also asked Dad. You're gonna have to remind us.
Go ahead.
We forgot.
Out of character. My voice dropped
Was
back
we
to
supposed
normal.
to just find the location, or were we supposed to do something with the mine?
I mean, the location of it would be greatly appreciated for sure.
Mark it
You
on a map.
you could go back in, but he seemed very keen on just finding information about where this might be on a map. So mostly.
I think we should just get out. I'm not going back in that cave.
We almost died. She
I
literally.
think we should just mark it and then keep going.
Go back. Okay, who has the map?
I'm gonna pat myself down looking for a map. Map.
It kind of pats her pockets, jingles a lot of things. I'm pretty sure I don't usually carry paper. The only paper I have now is the one that I have my name on. So, because I wrote my name on.
I'm gonna go paper and start rifling through all of my compositions and go map, and I'm flipping them over looking for a map.
I can't remember who had
You-
it.
I think out of all of us, Pim would be the most likely to have it. 'cause he
I'm
was-
sure I probably have it. I'm assuming I took it since I was
I think-
navigating.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna rummage through my backpack a little bit.
And
because I know Pim and I
Here it
have
is.
been kind of
you hear from your backpack. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. And then your backpack's like, backpack. Anyway, it's a backpack and map accounted for. We'll say.
You guys probably have large families for any of you watching.
surely you've done the Dora thing at some point.
You're not cool.
I'm gonna pull it out of my bag and mark it on the map.
Okay.
Oh, good. Pim has
Easily
it.
done.
I'm gonna take a big deep breath. I thought I lost the map. That wasn't bad.
Anything else we need here?
Nope. Unless you guys want to say goodbye or take a painting next to the cave where we had so many spiritual experiences.
Take a painting.
We'll just pose for a quick painting.
Wanting to brush up my watercolor skills for a while.
I mean, personally, I'm kind of good to just take a break from forest and trees and things and kind of get back to the real world, where there's stuff and mechanics and things that make sense. So
It makes sense. They make more sense than machines, honest to goodness.
trees are fine. I like trees. I do like trees.
But you're
I'm
tired of
tired
trees.
of
Trees
trees.
will never get tired of you. Trees love you.
Yeah,
I just miss
except for when they don't.
Things.
But that's
I feel
very.
like The rock tried to kill us. I'm gonna point at the cave. The tree saved us. I'm gonna point in the direction that the Thorn Mother went. And I feel like to be tired of trees.
Adam, did you hear that? You should keep Biakamve away from rocks that want to kill her.
Yeah. All rocks are dangerous.
No, not all rocks are dangerous. Rocks are natural parts of the earth too, just like trees.
You are very wise, Akamve. I have met many rocks who are not dangerous at all.
Thank you, Adam. I am very wise.
But I will
all
protect you
listen
to the
Adam.
death against those that are.
I'm just gonna point at Adam and laugh. He's my favorite. We need to keep him around for a long time.
A long, long time.
Shall we get
So,
going? And I'm
just
gonna
want
start
that-
walking.
Well, where are we going? Pam has the map. You are the leader.
I'm going in this direction.
Why are you going?
While they're all talking,
this
Pim's just gonna turn and start walking.
That sounds good.
Gabrielle is gonna look over her shoulder, see the direction you're walking, and run over to where you're going.
And I kind of imagine in my mind like a scene where the camera kind of pans up from above you as you walk off, and like little gnomes try to catch up, and there's like the sound of voices like arguing about things behind you as you lead
During
them.
this whole period of time where they're arguing and discussing, Akerly is just like reading and flipping through this banner book, just studying.
Like, well, break.
Okay,
Then she like looks up and sees everyone leaving. Like, oh no!
sounds good.
Not again.
And we'll say that you head off into the forest, and we'll go ahead and stop for our break right there. So, awesome. Thanks for hanging in there with us, and we shall return in just a few moments after we've done
You
whatever it
meant
is that we do.
Guys, minutes, not
Minutes.
moments.
Not moments.
Sorry,
We're not
sorry.
moment people.
Words matter. The right words matter. We'll be back in more than a few minutes. See you soon. We're back. We're back at a reasonable volume of saying we're back.
I'm testing the waters every time, so you guys have to let us know in the comments what volume you like every
I
episode.
like this one. That one was my favorite today.
Right? It was so soothing. We're back. Like that was super.
I can even play with accents, so just let me know in the comments what accent should I practice, and then next episode I'll speak
You guys
with
know.
that accent.
I want you guys to know I'm a 3-year-old at heart, and I just had to massively restrain myself from yelling "We're back" into my microphone. Welcome you to this.
Well, we are back, and you all are headed back into the woods. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a musical tangent. Don't go there. Yeah, you guys are headed back into the woods. You weren't super specific about where you were headed for sure. So let's clarify that. Where are you guys headed off to?
We're headed back, right?
The city.
I thought we were heading back.
Okay.
Heading back from whence we came.
Civilization where there's stuff.
Okay. Back to Baronhold it is.
Hate the woods.
I don't hate the woods. Wicked actually really likes nature. She's one of the few Arachnomes who do. But like, she also misses stuff.
Oh, we have stuff. I'm backpacks and shoes and
She wants cool stuff that she can tinker and fix.
Guys, I can't keep stopping this argument between two nature-oriented gnomes.
It's a different kind of nature.
stuff isn't nature. Stuff is just materials.
Material from nature that you create and make into cool stuff. It's cool.
And with that in mind, you all hike back into the woods, and off you go. Backtracking.
I don't want us to sing it.
You hike.
Gotta come up with a different
You.
phrase.
You travel, single file, along a path beneath the eaves of the forest. Is that better?
Good job.
Back into the Wyverwood, which is much less menacing than it once was for at least a little while. The area all around the place that you were just, where the Thorn Mother's influences spread, is pleasant for a little bit, and eventually you pass beyond the boundaries of that, and the wood becomes a bit wilder, a bit deeper, a bit darker. As you wander back, backtracking. Are you heading back kind of the way you came to the small hut kind of stopover point that you have, Pim, and then from there back into the river? Is that the plan?
I'm assuming so.
I'm assuming so as well.
Okay. So you head that way. I'm going to have whoever of you, I guess, has the skill proficiency, if at all, do a survival check just to make sure there's no trouble and kind of see how long it takes you to backtrack your way through.
I have a +3.
I have a +5.
Pam's doing the survival check.
Yeah, Pim's in the lead, so we'll let Pim do it since he kind of took out at the lead.
17.
Awesome. So yeah, with not too much of a problem, you're able to kind of find your way back. You kind of wandered through here in the dark the first time you came this way, but you spent some time in this area before and are able to weave your way back through the trees and along the paths and so on until the shape of the small round shack, the ruins of an old building that you had kind of pieced together with driftwood and bits and bobs. You come back to that place once again where you found Sovum kind of recuperating or trying to recuperate in the hanging pot inside. You see the familiar kind of path leading up to the driftwood door that you had hung back in the opening. You see the small piles of offerings that were left by Sovum, who had used this place several times, all kind of moldering and kind of rotting into, decaying into the forest as organic things do. Yeah, everything seems to be as you left it. Without too much of a problem, you arrive there. It only takes you, I think it was a couple hours, maybe an hour or two, in order to get back to this place after you took off. So do you plan on just kind of hopping right back in and going?
Yeah, I think we're just gonna keep going.
Okay. So you descend back down to the river. You all watch as the box reappears, is set upon the water, and with a word and to activate it. Suddenly, the form of the boat appears first in the shape of ice, which crystallizes and extends and expands and kind of like lattice work, appearing into the shape of the boat, until this boat completely made of frost appears, and then kind of, and a layer of frost falls, and you see the actual wooden form of the boat bobbing upon the water.
What word does Pim speak? Activate.
You know what? I'd have to go back and see if we had
right
designated one.
No idea.
So I don't have it. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not sure.
Just for flavor, I'm gonna add in that I've probably been singing this entire time, literally since we left, song after song after song. And as this pops into existence, I'm mid-song, whatever I'm singing, I'm gonna change to a song about a famous boat and a sailor.
Awesome. So you guys, you did then do basically your Into the Woods musical experience. Then it was a very musical experience as you traveled through the woods to the boat, and the music shifts to a very kind of sea shanty, yo ho, or maybe some more haunting tale of some lost sea captain or something somber as you step upon the boat.
I turn to Nazriel with a very humored, lighthearted grin. And I say, do you know how to swim?
And I'm gonna look at you for half a second without really missing a beat after that, and say, yes, but you can't catch me, and dodge right past you.
So, if you are attempting to do something, Akerly, we'll make a little contest out of this.
It was just a joke. It's just a joke. No, it is canon.
No, I would never put it. Sure.
Canon. You think so?
You also.
I might push you.
I push Airfiller to push Nasriel.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, go ahead and do a strength check. Strength or athletics to see if you can shove Akerly.
This is why I don't say anything.
You inspired me.
Oh, I was trying to be funny.
That would be funny.
Funny. Dale, first. Spat on you, so you're
I
cursed.
love that you're rolling for this.
While they do this, Wicket's just gonna have been the whole time like messing with another random little thing she has, wire and gadgets and things that she's making, and be explaining the entire way down the forest to Adam the things she's making and why it's cool and why these things are actually better than trees.
So you hear my singing
Because she knows Adam will agree with her, and so she talks to Adam about it.
Propaganda.
Tim's just saying hello to his boat.
You're the
That's
What
awesome.
did you roll?
What'd you
I
roll?
rolled a 9.
Yeah, so you're like, ha ha ha, and you kind of like run and like, and you just like slam into Akerly and kind of bounce off her and fall back down to the ground.
Okay, Bitsy, did you trip?
Yeah, I tripped. No.
I'll never see it from you later.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Deception check?
Is Abby doing an insight check?
It doesn't matter. Are you trying to lie to her?
No, I really did trip.
But you didn't just trip? Anyway, we get on the boat. We make it onto the boat intact. And, you know, through means of a magical boat, the boat actually travels back up the river. It's kind of down the river, but up the river because, again, the river loft runs in the wrong direction. And you all actually, in order to make this happen, you watch as the small kind of lateen sail comes out on the boat. And anyone who stands kind of near the mast or passes beneath the sail, you will feel a sort of constant, subtle, chilly kind of breeze that seems to kind of hover and swirl there and fill the sail. pushing the boat against the current back down towards Barenhold. Yet another kind of magical mystery of this.
Do you have a sketch for the boat yet, David?
I could certainly put one together for you, and that would actually be a fun little project to
Just
do.
use it a lot.
Although Rachel's the artist, we should let her do. We should let her do. You should totally do your version of in your style with like Pim
Yeah,
and the boat. That would
your
be
boat.
that would be stellar. Love to see it.
She
But
won't
anyways.
do it, which is why I'm asking you.
But anyway,
Rachel doesn't share her art.
It would just
That's the boat.
oh
For
man,
those who roll
I
high
have
on their
to see it
perception
now.
rolls, the painting behind Rachel is actually an original work.
Yep. Roll for
and
perception.
it's very pretty.
Which way? Which way?
Black.
What? What painting? What are you talking about?
It's very pretty too.
And just for the sake of sort of the passage of time and getting
Bones
kind
with
of to
us,
where
right?
we need to, we'll say that you spend the rest of the day traveling up the river, up against the current, down the river, down the river towards Barenhold, and that as the day is coming to an end, the sun is setting. It's already kind of becoming dim. It's gloaming time, and as you pull up to the pier, the small kind of wooden jetty that extends out into the current of the river from the trail that leads up to the gates of the picket surrounding Barenhold. And you see the forms of two of the Hallow Guard, thin elven individuals, bedecked with the tabard of the Hallow Guard, the kind of blue surcoat with the symbol upon it, the three golden octagons that are kind of offset from each other with the fist of the uplifted hand tethered by a kaima to the shape. And they stand there with spears kind of at attention at the end, and you hear them kind of as they notice you approach. You hear their voices muffled over the distance as they alert each other. One of them alerts the other one to your presence. As you pull up, they call out to you. Well met. I would say that probably they recognize the boat. It has been up and down and through here quite a bit, and so they recognize the boat, and they kind of peer as you pull up, and they find you along the side of it, and they see you, and you see the acknowledgement in their eyes as they acknowledge you as you pull up and kind of tie up for a moment as everybody disembarks, and you cause the enchantment to fade, and the boat turns to ice and disappears, and a box is left floating in the water that you snatch up. Well met, Mr. Lee Gallo. It's good to have you. Good to have you returned. You're alive and successful, it seems.
Yes, it's good to be back.
And they nod to you as you all pass them and kind of head up towards the gate, where you see guards standing at the two kind of towers that are built on either side of the large gate. And the gate, they call down to you, and you kind of acknowledge them. And the gate swings open, and you enter into the kind of antechamber. There's a kind of courtyard area between this gate and one other gate. And you actually see a familiar individual kind of approach as you enter here. Wicket.
As we're walking, Wicked's gonna walk up to Akerly and just whisper, "By the way, why are there so many guards? Like, what are they guarding against anyway? Isn't, like, where I'm from, people just can come and go wherever they go. So why are there guards?"
My perspective, there's a lot of shifty people coming in and out of Andromar right now, so I'm sure that they have to take extra precautions.
Right? Gnomes are naturally more trustworthy and kind peoples, I'm sure, which is why they're not shifty, which is why we don't have guards. That makes sense.
Betsy's in the background, just raising her hand. She's like, yeah. She's like, preach. She's like,
Sounds right.
and as you finish saying this, you see a tall, human female woman. Tall, she's not super tall. She's like 5'7" ish. approach. Long, deep red hair, a bow slung over her shoulder. And you all recognize her as Oz. She is the woman that initially came and found you all after your kerfuffle outside of the gate and took you to Stanchion Commander Sevik.
Oh, did you say
Yeah.
kerfuffle?
Yeah, kerfuffle. It's a word. It's a good word. And she approaches you and says to you, "It is good to see you again," she says as you approach. I had heard that you'd left, that you'd had the kaima placed upon you, and that you had left. And it is good to see that you have returned safely again.
Yes, we were lucky.
Tell me, did you find much trouble out there in the wild?
So much trouble.
We found a fair share.
Very interesting. And dispatched the trouble, it would seem. So in that you were successful in fulfilling what you were sent out to do as the venturing hand. Yeah?
We did a really great job. We should get a raise. I don't know if we're getting paid, but we should get a raise. Because we nearly died. There was so much trouble.
Well, two of us died. The rest of us were okay.
Three of us almost died.
Who was the other one?
Kim.
Clem almost died too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
We all almost died.
Pixie was 4. So
For me, I've been pretty much fine, but I'm light on my feet.
Everyone practically died. So we should all get a raise.
Well, if this was a salaried position, perhaps you could speak of such a thing. I'm afraid that you will have to negotiate, as all others negotiate. What you have done and what you have brought back with you will be evaluated by the proper people, and a price for your services and whatnot will have been decided upon. But if you truly had as much success,
I got this. Let me do the negotiating.
they will be fair.
My eyes are gonna
I
brighten.
actually just
I love negotiations.
just now thought you guys see several of the guards that are here, kind of people you don't know, but the kind of regular guard here outside. You see some odd kind of tense expressions on their face, and Oz kind of looks up at them and then at you. "Might I ask who your new friend is?" She says to you. And there's like a goosh as Adam steps up and says, "I am Adam of the Deep, bodyguard to the Arkham Vey." As he kind of looks at you,
What's it all about?
I mean to Wicket, he says. He kind of looks at you, looks down at the ground, and he takes a half step back away from you, and looks back up. "Well met, Adam of the Deep. I am afraid that although you are known to these, you are a stranger here. Might I have the story of how Adam came into your company?"
I'd love to give you the story, but not around them. And I'm gonna look at all the elven guards.
I see. Well, as many shifty characters come in and out of Baronhold, we must be careful in all things. I'm afraid I will have to...
Gnome? So he's like, Adam's a gnome, so he's pretty trustworthy.
You say, he just so you know, he's about 6 feet, 5'11"-ish tall.
Is not a gnome.
I did not want to say all it says to you, but
he saved my life and a lot of and he helped a lot. So he's trustworthy, and he likes gnomes, so he's trustworthy.
I'm gonna step forward at this point and just kind of pull back my sleeve and show my kaima and say, "We can vouch for him, but if you'd be more comfortable bringing Master Quaylen to us, we understand, but Adam stays with us and we with him. or there will be trouble. See, he protects the Akamve, and I'm gonna nod to Wicket.
And you see
Yeah,
his
so
shields
let's
raise
not
ever
forget
so
about-
slightly. What's that?
Calm down, Adam.
Calm down, Adam.
Are these friends? He says.
They'll decide in a second. And I'm just gonna look at her.
Let's have you do a persuasion check for me real quick.
You have it. You've got it all under control.
I have a 27.
Oh, holy cow! Wow,
17,
charisma.
girl.
Hello, charisma. Right.
In
You
all
look.
fairness to this poor NPC, I doubled down on my persuasion when we were doing my stats.
That's awesome. Yeah, she looks at you and she kind of looks back at Adam. I see. Well, just to be safe, we will perhaps escort you to the Baron, so that we might all be on the same page about the presence of your new friend here in the outpost. Are you headed to the Barons now?
I'm gonna look at Pim.
Yeah, we can head that way.
Was it getting dark? I feel like
It's now like torchlight here in this space.
you want to go sleep and then
Honestly.
talk to him in the morning.
Okay.
Go find a place to.
Is it all right if we rest for the night and then go in the morning?
Well, seeing as the Baron runs an inn, an establishment, perhaps you can kill two birds with one stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
Perfect.
great. Just lead the way.
Very well. And she kind of turns and raises a hand, and you see her say, "Ezra," and you see another familiar form pop out, a hollow guard that you knew, elf with short kind of spiky platinum blonde hair and kind of bluish skin, kind of steps out and around. Would you find a couple of guard to escort with you these fine individuals, these oath takers, these who have taken the oath of the noblest cause, to the Baron's inn, and speak to him and ensure that he is willing to bear the burden of whatever they have brought with them. And she kind of looks back over. You see that there is mild distrust by nature and by the nature of her calling. But she is allowing this to take place, which I think is impressive in and of itself. And so yeah.
I'm gonna channel like hardcore looks of contempt at the other elf, and then smile at her.
The other elf, Ezra, kind of leans over to Oz. I don't think this one likes me very much, he says.
Don't take it personally. It's all elves that I dislike.
Oh, then we're fine then, he says. Come with me. And he turns and calls another couple of guards to him as you head towards the gate. As you're walking away, Oz does call to you and say, "You will want to report to the Oath Taker's house first thing tomorrow, the headquarters. They will need to have your story and whatever items of interest you did return, and they will be able to settle your account then. And also just verify the veracity of your tale. That would be the easiest way also for any suspicion to fall from your friend here." So
Great, we needed to talk to him anyway, and I'm gonna go.
very well, the gate, and you guys walk through. And from this gate, the riverside, you're actually very close to the inn. It's just a short walk down the road and then a quick left-hand turn up this. Yep.
I'm gonna sit next to Nazriel and whisper under my breath so the guards can't hear. And I say, they're gonna make us turn in the artifacts. Are we gonna give up the staff that we got from Taru? We might need that.
Two things. First of all, pull your mic closer to you because you sound really quiet.
Oh, that's right.
Second of all, I'm gonna kind of smile at the guards around me and put my arm around you and kind of lean in. Say, that will depend on how they treat us. And wink.
You put your arm around the guard?
No, I'm gonna
Oh.
put my arm around Akerly.
Okay. I was like, okay.
I could put my arm around the guard, but I was intending to put it around Akerly.
Sounds good.
That will depend on how they treat us. And I wink.
I nod sheepishly and stop talking.
I'm just gonna laugh. Seems I've embarrassed you again. You're easily embarrassed, aren't you?
I'm not embarrassed. You seem to know just what you're doing.
I just have a certain skill with people. Even people I dislike, and I'm gonna look at the elves again.
Why do you dislike him so much?
Because all elves, except for me, and a few, are bad.
Oh, so let me repeat. All elves except for you and a few are bad.
Unless they're cleared specifically by me, you can consider all elves evil.
Are you trying to be quiet when you say this or no?
I'm gonna raise my voice.
Aren't our companions elves, though? Adam says.
Yes.
Then I will destroy them immediately.
I'm gonna raise my hand.
He's like,
They've
raising
been
his shield
cleared
up.
by me, since they're currently protecting Wicket, which means they're friends of yours.
Oh, be more careful next time. And he turns back down.
Don't tell me what to do.
I take my job very seriously, and
As do I.
steps up to them.
But why do you not like elves? Why are they all evil? You're not evil.
Right?
That's because I'm different than other elves. Have you noticed? And I'm gonna wink at Wicket.
I mean, yeah, you're friendly. And they're not friendly.
Hear that, boys? And I'm gonna look at the guards. She says you're not friendly.
You guys are just making friends right now. They're all kind of giving each other side glances and looking back at you, trying to look as official as possible as they're escorting you, not saying anything.
I'm gonna look back at Wicket.
Actually, I'll say this. The one, Ezra, turns to them and says, "Don't worry, boys. It's all elves, not just you."
Well, that doesn't make any sense because if all elves are evil until you're clearing them, that means you're wrong until. Because when you clear them, that means you were wrong. They weren't evil because you cleared them. So therefore, there's got to be exceptions. There's got to
Yeah,
be.
how do you decide if an elf is not evil or evil?
When they prove themselves trustworthy over time.
But why do you have to assume they're all evil first?
Because they are.
But why?
Are we there yet?
I'm gonna literally stop
But why? But why?
and get down so I'm eye level with Wicket. However long that takes me since I still have not figured out how tall I am. But elves like to manipulate people. And sometimes it's just to benefit them. I'm no exception, and I'm gonna stand up and keep walking.
But doesn't that mean more evil?
And with that, you all turn and you walk up the rise of the small hill upon which sits Quaylen's Rest. You can see from up here the entirety of Barren Hold spread out below you in the dark. You see torchlight flickering in places, congregation of torchlight where there's more light and more torches in certain places, central to where there are maybe marketplaces or places where people tend to kind of hang out in the evening. Excuse me. You do see the kind of winking of like fireflies and things out over the fields down across the way on the western side of Barren Hold that are enclosed within the city. And yeah, you turn and you come up to the familiar-ish form of Quaylen's Rest, a large and very comfortable-looking establishment made of mixed stone, the old ruins of the building filled in with timber and plaster and thatched very very thoroughly with a thick thatch roof. You see the sign of Quaylin hanging above the door, the curls of smoke coming out from the several chimneys that adorn the place, and the stables running off to the left with trees, orchard trees and things off to the back of it. As you approach, you see that you can hear voices from inside. People seem to be here at the moment. Things seem to be lively. You can see a hand or two, some individuals that are out in the yard doing work. There's one that is pulling or kind of leading a horse across the yard towards the stable as you come up the hill. And you all approach the inn. As you do so, Ezra kind of gets out in front of you a little bit and kind of heads out towards the figure that is pulling the horse or leading the horse across the yard, and says, "Ho there, might I get your help for just a moment?" And the figure kind of turns. You notice at this point that the figure is quite a bit smaller than the horse, is relatively short, taller than the three of you. I'm pointing at the halflings and gnomes, but clearly shorter than Akerly and Asriel. And in the darkness, you can't tell much more until this young boy comes running across the yard. And as he nears, you begin to see familiar things. You see the curly hair, the dark skin, of Cole, the young boy that caused you some grief at the beginning of all of this. As he kind of runs forward, and you see him kind of running. He stops and kind of throws the reins of the horse over a kind of hitching post nearby. As he kind of moves forward quickly. "Can I help you, sir?" he says. "Yes, I'm afraid we'll need to speak with the Baron quickly. I know it's late, but we just need to settle a few things very quickly with about our friends here." And Cole kind of peeks out and around and kind of looks across to you. "What?" He kind of sees you all there. "Oh, hey, it's you," he says. "You're back."
We're back.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's good that you're back. I wasn't sure I was going to see you again. You went off into the wilderness, but you're back. That's awesome. I'm so excited to see you. And he kind of runs up and he kind of throws his hands out and starts just kind of shaking hands, kind of all around. "And you, and you, and you, and you."
I'm gonna shake hands just as vigorously.
Awesome. He actually, as he pulls up to you, Akerly, before he stops himself from reaching out a hand, he actually stops, and you see him kind of bow. You all watch as he kind of bows to Akerly. "Milady," he says, as he bows to you, and then kind of stands back up again. And then Ezra kind of chimes in. "Son, I'm sorry to cut your greetings short, but if we could get the Baron." And, yeah, not a problem. Let me go see what he's doing. And Cole kind of turns and runs off around the corner towards the side kind of entrance where the offices of Quaylin are, kind of in the back. And after a moment or two, as you're standing there, you can hear Cole's voice come back around. "No, it's them. I'm serious. It's them, and they're here with the guard, and the guard needs to talk to you." You hear him kind of explaining things as he comes around the corner, and you see the figure of Handar Quaylin appear with his kind of regal white hair, his dark skin, his very very fine vest that he wears over the kind of loose-fitting shirt, looking every bit the mayor or the baron that he is, as he kind of comes around, drawing his hands off with a cloth that he then throws over his shoulder as he comes around the corner. He raises a hand and kind of waves as he appears, and says, "Ezra, it's good to see you. What can I do for you?" And Ezra says, "Well, I'm not sure if you recall, this group is a relatively new venturing hand, has just returned, and have brought with them a bit of an oddity, and until the morning comes and we can sort this out, we just wanted to make sure that you're aware of the fact that we have a new visitor. He turns and he points towards Adam. You see the Baron's eyes kind of widen, and next to him you actually hear Cole be like, "What the?" And yes, they seem to have brought something back with them. They say that he's friendly, that he's helpful. They vouched for him because they wear the kaima that carries a little bit of weight. But we would prefer that you were aware that he was here, and perhaps we just need to make sure that there's responsibility here on this. And Handar was like, "Oh, absolutely. No. He looks back down at you all and says, you vouch for him? He's with you?
Yep.
Yes.
He's with us.
And he's not a danger to my establishment or my patrons."
As long,
Not as long as you don't try and kill me.
To us.
As a chorus of people respond. Very well. And he kind of leans down. "It is good to see you." And he winks at you and kind of looks back up. "I'll take responsibility for these and for this one." And Ezra says, "Very well. We will leave them in your magnanimous care then. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow down at the Oath House for your reckoning for what you have done out in the wild these last days." And he turns and he says, "With me," and he kind of heads off. He stops and he actually turns and he comes back to you and Azrael. "Hold on just 1 second," and kind of looks at you and says to you, and he seems very sincere and very earnest as he says this, "I am very sorry that you've had apparently a very bad experience with elves that you've known. I would love an opportunity to change your mind at some point."
I'm gonna just look around for a second.
Busy's gonna give you a thumbs up.
Very well.
I'll
See that you don't waste it.
He kind of
What
smiles.
did you have in mind?
Perhaps a bite of food, drink or two, and we'll just get to know each other a little bit. You have piqued my interest. I am very curious about you, and honestly, would just love a chance to change your mind. I'm proud of my people. I feel that we are good stock for whatever it's worth, and if I can change your mind, your opinion of me, perhaps then we might begin to work on your opinion of all elves. Tomorrow.
I'm gonna look him up and down. Well, I do like food.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow it is.
tomorrow perhaps. I'll touch bases with you then tomorrow, and we will make a plan.
But be on your best behavior. And I'm gonna wink and turn to the rest of them.
"With me," he says, and you hear him kind of retreating back down the hill, followed by the other guards. The Baron, as soon as they're kind of gone out of earshot, "Well, you've brought something back with you, haven't you?" And he kind of is eyeing Adam up and down. "You're sure that he's not going to damage anything?"
Like I said, as long as no one threatens Wicket, he's completely docile.
"Then maybe we should find a room for Wicket and get her there immediately, just to be safe."
Wicket, you're in lockdown.
Oh,
I'm just gonna laugh.
that's a joke, right? I actually have to go to my room.
So here's the problem. Your friend looks sizable and heavy. He'll probably be fine, but he might draw some attention on his way through the common room.
Any more attention than I would draw?
Fair point. Yeah, you all did draw your fair share of attention when you came through. "This'll get them talking," he says. And he says, "Come with me." And he turns.
I think it's good for business.
And he leads you up and through the front door of Gwaelin's Rest. He actually takes you across, not through the common room. Oh, I guess he turns, actually. You're looking for rooms, then, I imagine.
And food.
Yes.
Food is nice.
I was going to ask you. Would you like to start by eating first? And
Food would be great.
sounds good. Well, I'll have rooms prepared. How many rooms would you like?
Do you and Adam want to share Wicket?
I don't think Wicket has a choice. I'm gonna laugh. But allow me to ask Adam. Adam, would you like to be separated from Wicket?
I'll stay with her.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
much fun.
Well, you each. Things are hopping. I don't know if you can tell. Many new people have come, and I don't know that I have a room for each of you at the moment. Would any of you be willing to share?
I love people. I'll share.
I'll share with the Nasriel. She loves people, and I like her.
Aww.
I like people.
Hey,
So-
girly, do you want to share with me?
Sure. We're both night owls anyway.
You're also sharing with Adam if that changes your mind.
No, not
We
really.
can have 3 people. It's fine.
So, 3 rooms.
Unless Pim doesn't like being by himself. Because
Oh, I love it.
Hearty laugh from Quaylen.
Circumstances. Due to certain circumstances, should you be by yourself? And I'm gonna look at Pim.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I think I'm okay for now.
Alright.
Handar kind of, you see a bit of a cocked eyebrow.
really Pim's more dangerous than Adam, but that's fine. We're not going to mention that.
You just did. Did you say that out loud?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'll try and backtrack. Pim has an established reputation that we can lean back on. Don't ruin it. Food would be wonderful right
yeah.
about now. 3 rooms would be also great.
Sounds good. Very well. I'll get those rooms ready then, while you all grab yourselves a bite to eat, and then perhaps we can talk. I'm very curious about what's going down since you left. So you all right through here. Choose a table by the corner, so that your friend here might stay out of the main traffic areas of the room, if that's okay with you.
Alright, but I don't like being told what to do, handsome. At that, I'm gonna push through whatever door you've just indicated.
Sounds good. And
And
he
pull Wicket and Adam with me.
do. So there's quite a crowd in here. The fire is merrily crackling away on the left in the main common room here. You see the bar at the back of the room, the round kind of tables and chairs, the small wooden stage in one corner, and then there's again on the right hand side an opening that leads into another area that's a little cozier with kind of smaller tables and a smaller fireplace in it. This main room is the one where you had breakfast with Solon, the timber, the guy that worked at the mill, and all of the things that went down before. And as you enter in, there are many voices, clinking of glasses. There is even a bard in the corner. You actually recognize this as the fella that you performed with briefly, and gave a bit of a boost to his confidence and perhaps his career. And he's kind of chortling in the corner with his lute, and everything stops as the door opens, and this kind of
As the door opens, I'm literally gonna look at Earl Quaylen and say, I want 5 pints of your most gnome friendly, strongest drink. To ensure that everyone in the room is looking at us now. And then I'm going to look at him again and head to the corner table like he told me to.
I'm gonna follow and put my finger in there. One of those will be for me. I will drink it.
I did get 5, Bitsy.
Handar walks in with you, and everybody kind of looks and sees Handar with you, and he kind of nods at everybody in the room, as you were. And he kind of snaps and kind of sends a finger. He says, Cole, you want to go put in that order for our friends? And Cole's like, oh yeah, not a problem, not right away. I'll be right back. And he kind of takes off through the common room towards the back, and says, I'll go see to the rooms. If you all will have a seat, someone will be around to help you shortly. And he kind of toddles off as you all find your way to the corner seat, large round table in one corner, with 5 chairs around it, and a bit of space between the table and the corner of the room. We'll say, I guess, that the same that a serving girl kind of comes around and is like,
I keep an eye out for Cole. Does Cole come back?
Shortly he does. Yeah, he'll be back here in just a second. Right before he arrives, a serving girl kind of comes and kind of wide-eyed is like, well, welcome. Can I get you some food then?
I think we're a chair short. Could you
That would
pull
be
up
great.
another one?
And a chair.
Adam want to sit, or does he prefer standing? Because I know a person who prefers standing.
Everyone keeps talking about him like he's not here. Adam, do you prefer to sit or stand?
I would prefer to stand at the ready, if that is okay.
Very well. We'll need an extra chair for Master Quaylen. And I'm going to look around and point across the room. I'll have what he's having.
Here we go again. Yeah, you can see a charger, a large kind of round metallic plate, filled with, it's a shallow kind of dish that's filled with what looks to be a very hearty looking stew, with a crusty piece of bread on it. And she says, very well. And for the rest of you, the same.
Yeah, that'll work.
Perfect. I'll be right back.
I don't like it.
And she heads off. And yeah, shortly after that, Cole comes kind of scampering, kind of weaving and bobbing back through the chairs, his kind of curly head appearing, and pulls up next to you guys. I got that order in. They'll bring those drinks out to you in just a minute. Man, I bet you all have some stories to tell.
Definitely. Pim almost died.
What?
So did Acrely.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Wicked.
But then she got a super guy. And I'm going to gesture at Adam.
And yeah, as you say all of this, his eyes widen when you say that Pim almost fell. And as you say Acrely almost died, he actually turns. And you see him kind of bow once again and be like, but you're okay, milady?
Yeah, I'm fine. Did you end up reading that banner book I gave you?
His eyes kind of widen. You bet I did.
You liking it?
It's incredible, he says. It's changed my life.
That's all well and good. Are you staying out of trouble?
Well, I'm working hard, he says. Got a pretty good gig here at the inn. And Master Quaylen's pretty good. He, if you get lazy or mess around too much, he'll let you know for sure. Or he'll sick Igrame on you, which is kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. Do you guys know Igrame? And I don't know if you guys remember, but Quaylen has a bodyguard that shadows him. So, as long as I don't laze around too much or anything, things have gone pretty well so far. I'm still young and I'm still small, and then he turns to you and he's like, but glory is won through strength of heart, not strength of arms. And he kind of pats his chest like this and kind of half bows at you again.
I see you've been studying well. I'm happy.
Yes, milady, he says.
I don't know if I should correct her.
Funny protege. This is so cute. So cute.
And he turns back. Wow, it must have been real bad if Master Pim got hurt pretty good. I've seen Master Pim do his forms, and he's pretty impressive. So, wow. Do you bring back like skulls or like heads, or do you like chop stuff off and Trophies. You got trophies or something, right?
Well, not really. But we have glorious stories.
His eyes light up as you say
I got
that.
burned alive.
You just get burned alive. I wrote a song about it.
What?
I'm okay now, but technically that did happen.
You look real good for someone that got burned alive, he says.
Thank you.
Akerly literally fell in battle, basically to death, but somehow came back to life.
Actually,
I also composed a song about that, and bards will sing of it throughout the lands.
Eagerly had an evil shadow double, and Wicket had to fight a whole bunch of metal snakes on her own.
Wow.
And I stuck my hand in the cup.
That she did.
Oh, okay. Wow. Sounds tremendous, he says.
Speaking of songs being sung, I'm actually going to head to the bard to go give him those songs.
Okay, sounds good. So you head over to the stage as the rest of you just kind of continue maybe to fill in Cole on kind of what's going on and tell some of the tales that you choose to tell him. And you come up to the bard. The bard sees you, hard to miss you, on the way through the crowd. And his eyes light up as he sees you coming, pulls it down, and he kind of puts his lute down and he's like, fair crowd, I give you a Nasriel the Bard. And he kind of points in your direction and he kind of leans down and kind of winks at you. The stage is definitely yours if you want it, he says.
I'm going to look at it and kind of hop between my feet for a second in a way that's like very obvious, like to take it or not to take it, to take it or not to take it. That's okay. For now. That's okay for now. I'd actually like you to take it, but sing something specific.
Okay.
That's okay.
I'm filling out my repertoire, but what did you have in mind?
I'm gonna pull out a sheaf of papers or parchment, whatever I compose on.
Okay.
I've composed about some adventures me and my group have had, and I am intent on getting them sung throughout the lands. And I think it starts with you, and I'm gonna hand them to him.
Sounds good. He takes them from you. I'll look over them right away and see what I can do. At least here in Baronhold, small outpost as it is, we'll make sure that we get the word out.
Thank you. I see the crowd has at least doubled in size since last time, so sounds like you've gotten better.
More and more people coming to Baronhold every day, he says. And I've been working hard. People have a fair ear here, so thanks again for everything you've done.
I was happy to. If you ever need pointers again, you won't know where to find me, but if we ever cross paths again, I'm happy to give you some more pointers.
And he bows in his semi kind of regal way and steps back up, and his lute kind of swings back up, and he goes back into to entertaining.
I'm gonna kind of meld back into the conversation without my group kind of realizing it and kind of sit next to Pim. And while they're talking, just go, all right, I've given him the song about how you're burned alive. Hopefully he's about to sing it.
Oh, good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Tim loves reliving that, especially in song.
Great memory for me, for sure.
I've written it in a glorious manner, and I'm just going to keep talking.
For sure. About this time, your stew arrives on the table along with an extra chair, and shortly after that, as you all eat and drink and you fill Cole in, Quaylen comes back across the common room. You kind of see him kind of give a look to Cole, who looks a bit sheepishly out the side of his eye. Do I need to go get Igrame, son? And Cole's like, nope, I'm back at it. And he turns and he's like, and he stops and kind of spins back again. Real quick, earlier you said something about Master Pim sleeping alone. Is it a problem? Need someone to look after you?
No, he just likes being alone.
And he kind of looks at you and kind of gets I would say at this point probably patted by Quaylen. Go on, boy. And Cole's like, okay. And he kind of,
Let's get lost before Igrame finds you.
yeah, and he kind of runs off through the thing and out the back door.
Really, you're using Igrame to scare the boy? You can't even do that dirty work yourself.
That's what I pay people for, he says, and he kind of laughs as he sits down.
I'm sure that's exactly what Igrame signed up for.
Igrame actually loves it. He's so much better at it than I am, and he gets a kind of perverse pleasure out of tormenting young children. So, works out for both of us.
Hero.
Well, fill me in. How did my investment pay off? He says.
And you should give him the map.
Pull out the map.
The map. Got it.
Wicked's gonna pop in here and like put the map or her hand on the hand Tim has with the map in it and just be like, yeah, we actually did locate your mine. However, it was at quite a cost on our part. In fact, 3 of our party nearly died.
Pretty much all of
So,
our party nearly
I
died.
would like to just... Practically all of our party died. So, we might as well get a raise.
A raise.
And now Triel from next to Wicket, where Wicket can't see, is gonna look at Master Quaylen in a kind of, well, you heard her way.
Interesting. Practically all of you almost died. Wow. Well, it sounds like those healing potions I procured at quite the cost did you some good then.
Yeah, barely. We just barely made it out with those. Like, in fact, I would have said that was the least you could do. Hence, the raise.
While this is all happening, Pim's just slowly pulling the map out from underneath Wicket's hand.
Well, generally speaking, a raise comes down the road a little ways after I've been paying you for a while, and technically, I haven't paid you at all yet, not even once.
Can I try and steal the map from Pim and Wicket?
Right?
We actually did not really speak in terms of exactly what the pay would be, but I told you that I would. So, in your mind, when you're asking for a raise, Oh, okay. So a lot is what you mean by a raise.
I'm gonna finish pulling a map out from underneath Wicket and stick it in the middle of the table and say, "We found the mine."
Very well.
Yeah, just give him a location before we've decided on our terms.
He kind of looks down at the map, and his initial reaction is that his eyes kind of widen a little. That's relatively deep into the Wyverwood. You made it that far, really.
That's what I'm saying.
And we figured out what's turning explorers away.
That's what I was about to ask, how you managed to fare into the woods. It was one thing on the river. I thought maybe you'd stick to the river, but you made it into the woods without being turned back. Do tell, he says. And
well, you'll probably hear it from the bard in a minute.
The bard is still working his way through Kobold's Ate My Horse. He's a fan favorite. Everybody's kind of clanking their mugs on the tables. And you hear a shout from the other side near the end of that as someone's like, "Halfling harmonies, now do halfling harmonies." Like, this guy clearly has like his repertoire that everybody knows at this point in time. But anyway, yes, well, I definitely am interested. It's farther in, and to be honest, wow, I'm surprised that you all were able to find something quite so quickly. Any kind of
I bet you don't regret investing in us now. I'm gonna smile.
So tell me what.
If you'd like it to keep us around for future things, you might as well make it worth our while.
Before
Sorry, we decided this morning that Wicket's really materialistic.
Let's have the story first. Tell me what makes you believe that this is in fact a mine, and that it is in fact my family's mine.
I'm gonna look at Bitsy and say, "Shall we?"
Well, it had your signature sign
Symbol?
on it.
The-
Had your name on it. And I feel like people put their thing on it when they want the thing to be theirs. So,
And
unless you
it
don't want
definitely looked like a mine.
it was a mine.
I was
Sounds
kind
good.
of waiting for, glowing pictures and things like that. Okay, we can just tell them. And I'm gonna kind of look down and clear my throat. We found your mine. It has your symbol on it.
Maybe warming up my hands.
I'm gonna pull out my instrument and clear my throat very theatrically
Uh-huh.
to then go into the story while Bitsy makes pictures float around you.
Okay. So we'll say that you guys go through the story. Do you share everything?
Do you shudder when we show that you're burned alive?
We share everything, guys.
Do you share everything?
Well, I just show him the mine.
Okay.
Just the things that are pertinent to what he's looking for.
None of what we have termed our magical adventure or getaway or
Yeah,
whatever.
none of our magical adventures, none of the Pim is going kind of crazy at the moment, none of that stuff.
Okay.
Just the fact that we met pixies,
found mine.
helped the pixies.
And in that we found the mine.
Into a rock place and found it.
So the fairies get thrown in, and you show that you fought the Talaru and then found the mine after that kind of thing.
We'll probably also tell the battle in the cave. It was in the cave, right, with the doors. I'm thinking it's
in the cave. That's where mines are.
because that's where we met Adam, and now he's with us. So we want to explain why Adam's with
We're
us.
basically just leaving out any spiritual journeys that happen.
Okay. And any mention of Pim and
any
what's going
mention
on
of
with Pim.
this for now.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you go into the whole thing? You talk about the icon mythic and appearing and all the constructs and everything that kind of happened down there.
I don't think we should mention any of the gnome stuff we discovered, though.
Okay.
I think just that we found Icon Mythic, but
So you found.
I think that we
an abstract beast that we had to fight that is still there because we are weaklings.
We had to run away.
Okay.
without talking about Pim stuff, I think that we should mention that through this adventure we have a lead on something about reclaiming the land, since that's part of kind of what we swore in to do.
we don't have to tell him that because he's not part of that mission. He's not part of the Hand of David. We go to Oathtaker Losen for that, so we don't have to mention.
And when I do the illusion of Icon Mythic, he's gonna be a lot bigger than a gnome.
Clearly, this is from Bitsy's point of view.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay, so you show all this. You show all this to him using your illusion spells, and Azrael dramatically recounting the situation, and he's listens just enraptured through the entirety of it.
Of course, he's enraptured. I'm
Yeah.
telling the story.
Yeah, and at the end, looks at you and is like, "Well, that's quite the story, no doubt. Well, this is good. This is good. It's a bit problematic. I am very much glad to know that this mine." Okay, I'm pretty sure that we are back. We are back. So we had some pretty massive technical difficulties there. Here at
the screen.
We
You
only
can't see the screen.
right.
Though.
Sorry, we're live on Twitch. I just have not set it up for you guys to see it in Zoom. Let
Okay.
me get that
Okay.
going.
Sorry, guys.
No, not a problem.
There we go.
Hey, now you can see me too. As you can
There we
see.
go.
yeah, our internet completely crashed all throughout the entire place here on our end, and so everything got shut down in kind of an odd way. We just wanted to hop back on and say that we didn't die. It wasn't like a Greenland situation, which is a movie that we just watched with Gerard Butler. Go check it out. I'm not promoting that movie in any way. But it was not like an asteroid hit the Earth and suddenly everything went out. And so on and so forth. It was just an internet crash, weird enough. That's the first time, actually, that I've ever really had that happen, even outside of the 10 episodes of this and out of character. So
I actually think that's
What a
really
fluke.
impressive considering I've seen your setup and you have a lot of stuff going on.
I know, right? Yeah. So we just wanted to hop on. We know we kind of ended in an odd narrative place, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of sign off and end this here. And we will pick up next time in Quaylen's Rest, the common room of Quaylen's Rest. Finish our discussion with the Baron of Baronhold, and then continue our journey from there. See what happens. So thank you if you're seeing this for sticking with us. We'll try to get this connected to the other one when we get it put up on YouTube. And anyway, have a very great night, an incredible week, we will catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.
This just got awkward because I didn't have the thing ready to go. Bye.
Bye.